You ever have those days where you feel completely swamped by stress? You know, like your brain is an engine just stuck in overdrive and you can't turn it off? Well, if that sounds like you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to dive into the science behind that exact feeling, using Melanie Greenberg's fantastic book, The Stress-Proof Brain, as our guide. We're going to uncover what's happening inside our heads and, this is the important part, what we can actually do about it. So, let's jump right in.
Does this sound familiar? I mean, really familiar? It's that full-body takeover of stress. It's not just some vague idea. You feel it. You feel it in your chest, your heart starts pounding, your stomach is in knots. This physical response, it's not an accident. It was actually designed that way for a very specific and, well, a very ancient reason. So, it turns out this intense, sometimes overwhelming response, it isn't a flaw in our system, it's actually a feature. See, we all have this ancient, hardwired alarm system that evolved to protect us from real physical danger. The only problem, it's kind of running on some seriously outdated software for the world we live in today.
Okay, so let's meet the bodyguard of your brain, the amygdala. Just picture this little almond-shaped thing deep inside your head, acting like a super jumpy security guard. Its one and only job is to constantly scan your environment for danger and sound the alarm at the very first sign of trouble. And let me tell you, it is incredibly fast.
And this is where we see the fundamental problem, the big mismatch. See, the amygdala was built for a world with immediate physical threats. Think lions, attackers, that kind of thing. But today it's firing that same high-alert alarm for traffic jams, for work deadlines, for paying bills, even for a grumpy boss. Our ancient brain hardware just hasn't caught up to our modern world.
So when that alarm goes off, it sets off this lightning-fast chain reaction. First, the amygdala just screams, "Threat!" Then, the hypothalamus gets that message and, bam, it floods your system with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. And finally, your body kicks into high gear, getting ready to either fight for your life or run for the hills. And all of this, it happens in an instant, way before you've even had a chance to think about it.
And this phrase really nails it. Your body unleashes this incredible, powerful surge of energy. It's literally like putting a tiger in your tank to deal with something like an annoying email. It is a massive overreaction. It's this incredibly powerful tool being used for completely the wrong job, and it just leaves you feeling wired, anxious, and totally exhausted.
So what happens when that tiger is always in the tank? When that alarm system isn't just triggered once in a while, but over and over and over again, all day long? Well, that's when we start getting into the really serious dangers of chronic stress.
Now, it's really important to know there are two different kinds of stress. You've got acute stress, which is short-term. It can actually be a good thing, you know? It can get you energized to ace an exam or nail a big presentation. But then there's chronic stress. That's the long-term grinding stress from ongoing problems, and that is what causes some serious wear and tear on your whole system.
And that wear and tear is no joke. We are talking about real physical damage here. Chronic stress can mess with your memory, damage your heart, and weaken your immune system. It can even make your cells age faster. So you can see why learning how to manage this response isn't just a nice to have. It's absolutely critical for our long-term health.
It all sounds a bit depressing, right? Like we're just stuck with this ancient brain that's totally sabotaging our modern lives. But hold on. Here is the single most important question we can ask. Are we locked into this pattern forever?
And the answer, thankfully, is a huge, resounding no. Because your brain has a secret superpower. And what modern science has shown us is that your brain is not fixed. It's not set in stone. It is designed to change, and here's the amazing part, you can be the one to direct that change.
This superpower has a name, neuroplasticity. It's the brain's incredible ability to physically reorganize itself based on your experiences, your thoughts, your actions. Seriously. Every time you learn something new, or even just think a different thought, you are physically rewiring your brain. You can literally build new, healthier pathways.
There's a famous saying in neuroscience that just perfectly captures this idea. Neurons that fire together, wire together. What that means is the more you run a certain mental loop, whether that's a pattern of panic or a pattern of calm, the stronger that physical pathway in your brain becomes. The more you practice being calm, the more calm becomes your automatic go-to.
Okay, so if the amygdala is our panicked security guard, who's in charge of calming everything down? Well, that brings us to the hero of our story. It's time to meet the CEO of your brain, the prefrontal cortex,
located right behind your forehead.
And the difference between these two is just night and day. The amygdala, our alarm, is fast, emotional, and totally reactive. But the prefrontal cortex, our CEO, is slow, rational, and strategic. It's the part of your brain that actually thinks things through, that weighs the consequences and makes the smart, executive decisions.
Now here's the crucial part. The prefrontal cortex, the CEO, has a direct line to the amygdala. It has the power to step in and say, hey, stand down. It's not a lion, it's just a traffic jam. We got this. So the whole goal here is to strengthen that connection, to give the CEO more authority over that jumpy little alarm system.
So the big question is, how do we actually do that? How do we strengthen the CEO of our brain? Well, this brings us to our first and maybe our most powerful tool for rewiring your brain, the simple practice of mindfulness.
At its core, mindfulness is just the practice of paying attention, on purpose, to what's happening right now, without judging it. But its real magic is that it creates a pause. It creates this tiny, crucial space between a stressful trigger and your automatic panicked reaction. And it's in that little space, that's where you find your power to choose a different, calmer response.
So how does this actually work in the brain? Well, by focusing your attention, mindfulness literally slows down your brain's processing speed. This gives your thoughtful prefrontal cortex, the CEO, a chance to get involved before the amygdala hijacks the whole show. And get this, studies have actually shown that with consistent practice, mindfulness can physically shrink the amygdala, our fear center, while making the prefrontal cortex thicker. You are literally building a calmer, more thoughtful brain from the inside out.
You know, there's a really beautiful metaphor for this. You are not your stress. You are the sky. And all those stressful thoughts and anxious feelings, they're just clouds passing through. Yeah, sometimes they're dark and stormy, but they always pass. Mindfulness teaches you how to be that calm, steady sky that holds all the weather, instead of being the person swept away by the storm.
So, the science is crystal clear. Your brain isn't fixed. It is built to change, to adapt, to heal. And through practices like mindfulness, you can take an active role in reshaping how you respond to stress, totally transforming your brain. So the only question left is, your brain is ready to change. Are you?